If there's any time in my life that has been more focused on my race, it's only once I started dating my husband. Then I started to understand what it was like to be treated like a black woman, because up until then, I had been treated like a mixed woman, and things really shifted. This was the Black Princess, Meghan Markle, recently, with her new podcast and the conversation she had with Mariah Carey. We got to talk about it. Let's go. What it do? This is your brother Bishop of Bishop's Own TV, and y'all heard that. Y'all saw that little introduction. Y'all didn't see it, but y'all heard that introduction. That was Meghan Markle, Miss Black Princess. You know, so many black women at the time were just gloating over the fact that we have a black princess. That is our dream, Disney dream. So many people were living through Meghan Markle at the time that, we'll get into that later. But yeah, she had a podcast. She has this podcast now, and she had a discussion with Mariah Carey about race. And in this conversation, Miss Meghan Markle, Duchess of Sussex, is that how you say it? Sussex? I don't know. I don't care. But no disrespect. Yes, respect. Disrespect. But yeah, she had this conversation with Mariah Carey, and she was talking about the fact that was the first time she felt like a black woman, was when she went through trauma. That's the first time she felt like a black woman. Now, why am I talking about this? Well, because I want to revisit this moment when they made a big fuss. They made a big spectacle of her getting married to Prince Harry. I don't even acknowledge that royal shit. Okay, so I'm not going to even call a man Prince. Harry and them. But Harry and Meghan got married. And a lot of black women, specifically, were living through that moment. I know some specifically. I ain't going to call you out because I got love for y'all. But they were just like, yes, we made it. Make this work, black queen, blah, 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 black. And Meghan Markle considers herself a biracial woman. And I'm not mad at that. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not here to discuss why I think Meghan Markle is necessarily a problem. But let me read another quote from this podcast that she had a discussion with Mariah Carey, who's also, I don't know if she's biracial. She's very, very mixed. Right. So, but let's talk about the discussion. So Meghan told Mariah Carey, I think for us, it's so different because we're light-skinned. You're not treated as a black woman. You're not treated as a white woman. You sort of fit in between. Let me read that again. I think for us, it's so different because we're light-skinned. You're not treated as a black woman. You're not treated as a white woman. You sort of fit in between. I do my research, and I research Meghan Markle throughout the years. Not throughout the years, but I went back and read some of her other statements on race, how she views herself. And look, first and foremost, a lot of our people, and I'm just talking specifically on black women generally, that moment when Meghan Markle got married to Harry, it really showed a problem that I have in our community. And it's the thirst for white acceptance. It's the thirst to be acknowledged and put on a higher position next to whiteness, next to the white. Like, it was okay to thirst for the assimilation of whiteness, because that's exactly what it is. We put a lot of our people put a lot of stock into royalty. A lot of our people look up to white royalty. So Even like if it's like George Lucas or something, because George Lucas is considered this pioneer in the film industry. Or let's say Steven Spielberg. Steven Spielberg got with a black woman, and somehow that is validation for black women. We still look towards white people to validate us. That's the truth. It is what it is. I seen it right there. Again, why was that such a big deal? Why were black women gloating about Meghan Markle, who doesn't consider herself a black woman like yourself? But why was so many black women that thirsty to get validation from what's considered the highest position of whiteness, which is a prince and a king? A big part of it is conditioning. We've been conditioned. A lot of us grew up on the same Western media and romanticized images of the royal family, the king. Mind you, we're in America. We're not in the United Kingdom. So it shouldn't matter in the first goddamn place, but they put a lot of stock into it. And this reveal kind of goes into another topic that I want to discuss about biracial people. A lot of black people, a lot of people in America in general need to have a different perspective and different attitudes towards biracial people moving forward. Because a lot of black women, whether they intentionally or unintentionally, and a lot of black people, period, do this. So I just don't want to make it seem like it's just black women. But a lot of y'all are picking and choosing who should be biracial or who should be black and who should be white or whatever. A lot of y'all are making, or indirectly or directly making, biracial people pick one side. Me, I have never been a person who has felt like biracial people should pick a side. Hey, I honestly feel like you should acknowledge both your parents. Acknowledge both your parents, because that's you. You are 50-50. Now, if a biracial person chooses to identify as black, I have no problem with that. Hey, if you choose to identify as black, cool, fine. I think it depends on certain individuals, just like anything else. But it depends. Like, I understand if a biracial person that grew up in a predominantly black neighborhood, grew up in predominantly black spaces, and maybe like, hey, I love my white mother, but I really don't know my white family. I know my black family, because that happens a lot. I know biracial people who grew up in predominantly black neighborhoods who had a white mother, but their white mother's family didn't really accept them. So all they really know is their black family in black spaces, and they identify as being black. I completely understand that. I'm not knocking you. But then you have a lot of biracial people who, look, but some biracial people like Meghan Markle, who didn't grow up in a predominantly black neighborhood, even though she has a black mother. And in a lot of cases, we just clumsily be like, well, if your mama's black, you black. If you look black, you black. And look, I kind of understand when they say you are what people think you are. But then I also believe you shouldn't let other people define your identity. That's just how I see it. If you feel like, look, I'm biracial, let me be biracial, let me embrace both sides, then goddamn it, embrace both sides. Because more biracial people now are checking the box of mixed, other. They don't feel comfortable picking one side. And y'all got to accept that shit. Which brings me back to how black women felt about Meghan Markle. Black women, Meghan Markle is not you. Y'all are not the same. Y'all are not the same. She is not trying to be a black woman necessarily. She's just trying to be herself. So, and it's ironic to me that the time she quote unquote felt like a black woman, which was in her adulthood, was through some trauma bonding. As if that's the only thing black people have to offer as far as collective experiences, shared experiences, is trauma. Like it's more to being black than a shared trauma. But in her mind, she and I'm saying this because of what she said about her mother, how she acknowledged the fact that her mother was called the N-word. So then she kind of understood a little bit about race from that perspective. Trauma. because her mother was called an N-word by somebody who's white. Trauma. And now the way she was allegedly treated by Harry's family, trauma. Which, by the way, I kind of call bullshit on that. Number one, it's the royal family. Royal family is colonialism at its finest. The royal family has a lot of blood on their hands at the expense of black people globally, African people, other groups of people of color, globally, not just locally, but globally, for centuries. And you mean to tell me you didn't know? You didn't understand? Like, you didn't understand the dynamics of this family? You mean to tell me your husband, Harry, didn't know? He didn't know about his grandma and all them? He didn't know about his dad? Bullshit. Bullshit. But like her mother, this is just my opinion, Meghan's mother, even though she was a black woman, she did not want to associate with black people generally. I'm just, come on now. She didn't want to associate with blackness. And that's all right. Cool, whatever. We know a lot of black people, and I'm talking about black people with two black parents who at a certain point, they don't want to associate with blackness. Or being black is not that important to them. So they place themselves in predominantly non-black spaces to get away from that shit. And I believe her mother was one of them. Because, again, judging from Meghan Markle's comments on race, she's not very aware of a black experience. It wasn't talked about in her household. It wasn't. If it wasn't talked about in her household and her mother is black, then what'd that tell you? What does that tell you about her black mother? And what does it tell you about Meghan Markle that in her adulthood, she finally kind of knew what it felt like to be a black woman? And she never considered herself black. Come on, y'all. Black women, y'all got to stop thirsting. We have to stop thirsting. Allow biracial people to be themselves. Stop making them choose if they're black or white. Which, by the way, let's keep it real. A lot of people didn't even know who Meghan Markle was. I'm talking about the black community. A lot of people didn't know who this woman was before the announcement of her getting married to Harry. They didn't know. So they probably would have seen her casually on TV and would have thought, okay, she's ambiguous. She could be Hispanic, Latina. Because a lot of the roles that she played throughout her career were ambiguously roles. They were ambiguous roles. So she could have played a Hispanic woman one season. She could have played a Italian woman another season. She could have been playing a Greek. She could have been playing anybody, you know. But she didn't have roles that would necessarily cast as a black woman because of the way she looks. So we got to be honest with ourselves. I've seen the comments. I saw the way a lot of black women responded to her when she did a special with Oprah. Got to revisit that because black women had a lot of things to say about that, and a lot of black women were rallying behind Meghan Markle. A lot of black women were projecting themselves onto her. A lot of black women were living through her. I know how it feels, sister, because as a black woman at the workplace, I don't get the same respect either. You stand strong, Meghan Markle, who doesn't see herself as a black woman. I've been to HR. Like, I'm looking at this website, Grazia, I guess, and they say 9 black women on Meghan Markle tell all interview. We're still processing. Jesus Christ, we're still processing a biracial woman's experiences in the royal family. Got nothing to do with y'all. I'm gonna read just a little bit of one of these sisters. Well, two of these sisters, because I think one sister out of the 9 had the best perspective of them all, the most realistic perspective. But let me read one of them to you. Listen to black women, period. It always surprises me how people will still find a way to remove black women even out of a black narrative. Meghan Markle is biracial. It's not a black narrative. What the hell are you talking about? This is what I'm talking about. She's black when she's cool, when she's popular, when she's next to some whiteness at the highest level. Conveniently, she's black now. As I watched Meghan Markle share her experience with the world, there were so many parts of me that were ignited within me as a black woman. Black. Going to HR and having nothing done. Check. Having a narrative flip to make you the aggressor. Yep. Telling people that you are caving under life's pressures and you need help, only to not be supported. Oh, definitely. Meanwhile, the bigger messages of race and performance went over so many people's heads. While I and so many black peers shared our horror stories or how we could relate to Meghan's perspective, I saw similar tweets from people who thought the best of the interview was Meghan's eyeliner choice, or that freckles are officially back. The day after, Slack channels were bombarded with notes on how tea was dropped in that interview. But tea for who? What changes for the black experience now that the world sees, even as royalty, you are black first before you are a princess? That a black child is doubted long before they speak their first words, and a black mother, no matter how fair-skinned she is, will be villainized. Okay, but y'all were thirsting over the fact that she was marrying into the royal family. Y'all were thirsting over that. But a lot of black women were thirsting. Y'all was celebrating this shit. Y'all were gloating about this shit. Y'all were gloating about marrying. Y'all wasn't even the ones getting married, but y'all were gloating, living through this biracial woman who never identified as black. Y'all were living through the fact that she was marrying into a royal family that is documented racist, documented on having blood on their hands at the expense of black and brown people globally. What the hell is y'all talking about? Huh? What is y'all talking about? I'm not frustrated at the royal family. Why would you get mad at a dog for biting a goddamn intruder? They're a dog. The sign says, beware, dog will bite. You wanted to be accepted into that family so goddamn bad that when the shit hit the fan, you hurt. You mad now. You mad. Oh, I got with this guy who parents in the KKK. And when I went to the family reunion, I was hurt. I was so upset. I was so distraught that they didn't like me. Fool, you knew you was married into the KKK? All right, that's just one. Because a lot of these women at the interview had this same damn romanticized, but then distraught perspective and trauma bonding narrative about Meghan Markle. Okay, so this is one where I was like, she hit it right on the nose. She was like the only sensible black woman. Meghan Markle relived painful memories at what cost? At first, I was here for the tea that was coming. But the more and more I watched, I couldn't get past Meghan's I don't know answers and responses. Why not call this institution for what it is? It's racism. They are racist. You got treated differently because you are black. I didn't agree with that. The treatment was unfair, but how could you not expect that from this family? I hate that she went through such a painful experience. I'm not taking away from that. But how could expect anything else from a family who has oppressed the rest of the world? And how did you think that they cared anything about representation when they have profited off of the blood of all people of color? I also don't like the idea of black people and black women especially being the driver of these massive ratings for that interview while being triggered. What are we left with? After Meghan has this interview and we're triggered, what are we honestly left with? It felt like just an empty show that was able to profit off of our wounds and was more about Meghan and what she should have been able to do as opposed to the deeper issues at hand that are at play. There's nothing revolutionary about that, and what I hate is that the hype around it positions her as an advocate for us when she is not. Thank you, Melissa Kimball, writer of cultural strategist and founder of Black Creatives. Thank you. You hit it right on the nose. Meghan Markle got a nigga wake-up call. As the great late Paul Mooney said, she got a nigga wake-up call. Ring, ring. Tap it. She'll be okay. Black women who were living through this woman, that were traumatized hearing her stories, y'all won't though. Because see, it hits y'all much harder because y'all don't have the privilege of now finding out what it means to be a black woman. You know You're a black woman from the very start. You're born from the very moment you're born and conscious of who you are as a person, as a child, as a young black girl. You know that you're black. You know. I know it hurts to hear that, but it is what it is. All right. So like and subscribe. Leave a comment. Let me know what's up. I ain't trying to beat up on y'all too much, sisters. I'm just trying to have a real conversation with y'all. So until next time, holla.